Sheen, we've not heard from you yet, so perhaps I could ask you to get things started on your predictions and highlights around serverless.
Let me start from something from the high level, the way I think it's moving. So far we've been focusing heavily on cost when it comes to serverless, but I tend to see that that's kind of slowly going down on all these sort of cost factors. But I see there is a shift towards convenience, especially in the current situation we've been through. We wanted to build solution faster and get deployed and running from wherever we are. So that shift, I think, will happen and move forward. That means the services that we will need to see also should be along those lines. So I think the event-driven architecture will gain momentum again, with Event Bridge playing a centerpiece. And also, I think when it comes to the tooling, I know the sort of monitoring side of things is a bit weak. So the aspect of resilient services, I think, possibly will take again an importance. I noticed that Werner's keynote is going to focus around that, so I can expect new announcements in terms of the toolings or the services that will enhance that part of the serverless ecosystem. So that's sort of the broad level thinking I have. And just to add one thing to the particle, the discussion we had, my fear is that though the particle docs clearly state what you can run and what you can't, it may influence the DynamoDB design. People will get sort of polluted with this sort of a SQL mindset when they get to designing NoSQL. So that's another worry for me as well. I agree with Jan on that 100%. Yeah, so that's sort of the thing I see. I would like to see, hear from others and what they think of the serverless ecosystem and where things going with AWS.
I think, judging by the recent announcements and feature changes that they've been doing on Lambda, honestly, I think Lambda is getting more and more complicated now. Probably not something that I particularly enjoy, but that doesn't seem to fit the trend that Tim Wagner probably predicted a few years ago, that we're going to see like a merging of containers and the serverless or Lambda functional service, whereby we're seeing more and more container or serverful features on Lambda, and we're seeing more and more sort of event-driven, functional service type features on Fargate. So I think we're probably going to see some of that more, more memory, more longer runtime, that sort of features on Lambda, and maybe more sort of event triggers for Fargate and ECS. Maybe I think that's probably like general trend that's been happening over the last, a while now. And certainly the recent updates with extensions, Logs API, is sort of trying to, bringing the sort of log agents back into Lambda functions, which is, useful in a way, but also at the same time, is making things more and more complicated.
Yeah, to add to that, the two announcements came in last week. The SQS batch, 5 minutes batch up to 10,000 messages, along with the synchronous, the step functions. So that kind of, adding more things to already complicated the Lambda.
Yeah, and a couple of different ways to decide how to deploy the things as well, right? You've got, which is the right thing to use? SAM, serverless framework. What's the other one? There's Lightsail as well, and CDK, and you can also use what's the one that's sort of got GraphQL and all sorts bundled in? Amplify. Yeah, there's also Amplify. So now you've got a huge amount of choice, and then you've got like third parties building on top, like Vercel have got the kind of the solution which lets you do that. Netlify also does Netlify functions. They run on AWS as well, and in Lambda. There's all these kind of weird offshoots as well. You've got Pulumi and all it. It's an incredibly complicated thing. I think the things that are interesting to me this year that's happened, I think the key one that I really like the most is just CloudWatch embedded metric format. Just the ability to write a log entry and have that turn into a metric. I loved that. That was helpful. One that caught me by surprise was Event Bridge encryption has only just been added.
Yeah.
So I had to raise that as I couldn't believe that a new service got launched that didn't have encryption at rest by default. I had to wait for it. It was kind of, it totally surprised me that it wasn't there from the get-go. I mean, I'd noticed it before we went live with a customer and had to flag it as a risk and say, look, you know, wow, that was really surprising. Step function payload increased to 256K. That was awesome to see that. Like, you know, I think it was 32K before, which is like Crash Central as a minimum default. What else was interesting? EFS for Lambda. We haven't talked about that. Like the ability to connect a disk to your Lambda. I'm not sure how I feel about that particularly. Has anyone actually used it? Has anyone thought, yeah, I've been waiting for that one?
Yeah, that thing is you need to be on a VPC, right? So those
VPC cold start's not so terrible now.
Yeah, it doesn't affect the cold start. So attaching this to VPC doesn't affect your cold start, but reading and writing to EFS is still quite slow. If you only read stuff that doesn't change, then you do get some OS level caching that helps you with that. But if you're writing stuff that's constantly changing, then it really doesn't. You know, it's nothing like reading from local file. It's a never file drive. So no, you have all the latency that's attached with that.
So one of the use cases we kind of use that for is machine learning. When you've got big models and big dependency and native frameworks, that doesn't fit within the 250 package size. That's kind of a hack, really, is to put your model and stuff onto EFS. So I'd love them to either increase the package size or work something out where you can put some ML stuff in the Lambda better.
So that's coming. I'm not allowed to say where it is, but it's coming this week.
That's brilliant. A little bit of, you know, insider knowledge there. Thank you very much, Jan. Great. Okay. So I'm going to move us on from that. Like I say, you know, this is teeing us up for all the conversations that we can have.